Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of the Be More podcast. I'm Brittany.
I'm Maria. Brittany has to tell me things, even though we literally just saw each other maybe 12 hours ago.
Yep, we did. So, guys, if you check out our Instagram, I actually just posted something else on our Instagram because I'm doing
Okay.
social media job. Um, but you guys should definitely follow us on Instagram at Be More underscore podcast. Is that right?
Yes,
Yes.
completely right. Look at you.
Um, and I just posted something that was relevant to the last episode that we had with Dara, which was awesome. We love her. Thank you for coming on, and she'll come on again so that you guys can hear from her more, and Maria can meet her. Um, but yeah, I just did social media things, so
Go check it
little
out.
little applause sound. Go hang out with us on
Yes, yes, yes.
Instagram. But I wanted to tell you funny things, and Dan's literally not gonna be happy about this. First and
Uh-huh.
foremost, let me tell you this. I don't know how I'm so perky and energetic right now because I don't know if it. So Maria and I had sushi last night with our friend Monica. Let me tell you, good times never end with us. The things that we talk about are always just all over the place. Um,
Agreed.
but I don't
Agreed.
know if this happened to you, but I went to bed. I probably got home like you said, like 12 hours ago, and
Yeah.
I went to bed and I'll like at 3:11 this morning, wide awake.
You
Wide awake. Yep,
at 3 o'clock in
staring
the
at the
morning.
ceiling. I literally like flipped myself over on the bed and was like hanging out with Beezus and was petting him. I was like, no, I have to get up. I like got up, started doing my morning routine, like
At
like
3 a.m.
watch TV. I could not go back to sleep, and
Um,
I know I
go ahead.
sound insane. And at 5:30, I forced myself to get back in bed. I stared at the ceiling a little bit more, and I finally fell asleep.
So no, not me. I got home, did a couple of adulting things with my move, and then passed the hell out. I literally woke
So
up
jealous.
maybe an hour ago.
Ugh,
So
I
no,
don't know
I literally
why.
slept.
So annoying. First of all, I'd like to add in that you can tell that Maria's moving if you guys aren't watching
Oh,
us. Her instruments that are usually next to her while we're recording are like behind her, and the biggest tell is that her bookshelf is almost empty.
oh yeah, it's like basically yeah. The books that are still left on my bookshelf are for my sisters now, and then literally my
Aw.
couch is usually right here, like in the screen. Yeah, it's gone. So it's
There's
like I'm
craziness.
hoping next time we film, I'll be in the new place. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll see how this week goes.
we talked about your moving process. What are your tips for people?
What are my tips?
Hashtag moving.
Don't underestimate the amount of shit that you have.
For real
like,
though.
like I
So
thought
true.
I mean, I don't have that much, but it's still a lot, right? Like obviously that was like I had to purge some things or leave some here because like I don't need everything that I have down here.
Right.
Um Also family's just hard enough. We Brittany and Monica talked about this last night. Um and they mean well, but also like make sure that they know how quick or how slow you want to move during your move because that can cause some issues along the way. I think that's it on my part.
I'm literally muted myself so that I can eat.
What are you
But
eating?
yeah. So because of the newly diagnosed high cholesterol that I have, I freak out about everything that I eat now. Again, I should say. I shouldn't even say now, but again.
Yeah, again.
So I'm eating an egg white. I'm
Mm-hmm.
having brunch. I'm eating an egg white with some potato and
Mm.
chicken sausage, which is the greatest thing ever. Thank you, Daniel, for finding it because it's
I
delicious.
do like chicken sausage more than
It is so
um
good.
other sausages.
Turkey sausage is good too. Thank you,
Yeah.
birds. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
eating.
seriously. Thank you, poultry, honestly.
And guys, if you didn't watch the episode that we just did where Dara came on and talked about her with love not gluten series, like really
Mm-hmm.
like food, go listen to it. I listened to it on the way home, and I had sometimes I listen to myself in conversation with other people while we're on the podcast, and some of the things that I say, I'm like, wow, I
They're
like her.
insightful.
Yeah,
Oh.
some of them are. Some of them are.
Well,
I'm like, wow, I like her.
you're reading off like quotes last night that you were writing down. And I have like one line zingers every so often.
Yeah, Marie, like those are absolutely golden. But so wait, to continue the conversation
Uh-huh.
that we had last night, and I think that um people who listen to this will appreciate this. So part of the conversation that we were having, one of the many conversations that we were having last night, was relative to how I have yet to actually look at them, but the stripper videos that are on TikTok about like all the money that they
Oh,
make. So
the insane amount of cash that they make, which I mean,
yes.
I applaud them so much. I made the wrong decision somewhere along the
So
line.
wait, okay, so um rightfully so, my fiance is like has infatuation with my body parts, which is great. Like he should. 10 years later,
Yeah,
I'm doing something right. We're good.
right.
And today, literally 20 minutes ago, while I'm making breakfast, and I'm like, like I went into the wrong. I had this conversation last night about the fact that I went into the wrong profession because I have parts of my body that I could make money from, and instantly, Dan was like, I'm not entertaining this conversation.
He was like, "I'm gonna go now."
And I was like, but I don't have to. I was like, it's a perfect, like we were saying last night, it's the perfect kind of setup to make money because no one has to touch you. Well, no,
No,
I think we decided that escorting might be better. But I think escorting is hard because escorting they still touch you. Like at least in stripping you're far away and no one sees you. And
he's probably like, "What are you
he just
talking
made eye
about?"
contact with me from like the other room and is not he's not happy that I'm having this conversation. I haven't
Again,
decided what
yeah.
I want to do. But I mean if
Oh
I
my
really want
god.
to change professions, think of all the
Hey, look,
money that would be coming in from it.
kudos to them.
I'm gonna get yelled
Honestly,
at for talking about this on the podcast later. It's fine.
the stigma against that work is just ridiculous. To be quite honest with you, yeah.
The corporate world prostitutes people in a different way. Like, right, the reason why we don't like prostitution is because first of all, this is gonna go into a whole conversation about like how messed up our society is and like the ways that we choose to be prude and then the other what it
But like
causes on the back end.
stripper work and escort work and stuff isn't prostitution. Is my
No.
under? I would say okay.
No, but no, like the issue is, right, or the way that I interpret it is that people have an issue with it because you're exploiting like sexuality,
Oh,
you're exploiting the form of the body. But why do we not scrutinize jobs that exploit people's everything
time,
else? Yeah,
time and
their
effort.
energy,
Yeah,
their mindset, and it's that is
capitalism.
more that is
Ca-
more
capitalism.
grotesque and demeaning and manipulative than being able to pay somebody for like and those things require let's be real, those things require skill sets, right? Like
Yeah.
like that's why strip dancing, like dancing
Hmm.
on like the pole has become like a workout, a whole workout thing in a community because it requires a skill set. Like even an escort, you need like serious levels of charisma
How
and a
come?
little bit of acting skills to deal with those people that
How
you have to
come?
work with.
I don't know if it's a fad. I don't know what it is. Like pole dancing classes, like
Mm.
that's okay. But then when you take it to like a strip club and
Mm.
people are doing these like acrobatic things, it's like not okay.
That's another thing that I watched on Try Guys and I died. Have you seen that episode of Try
I
Guys where
have
they
actually. Yeah, yeah.
oh, like uncomfortable. But like it. Yeah, I don't understand why these.
Like clearly,
Mind you, I
clearly.
also did yell at Dan about like he's going away for a bachelor weekend, and I would not like him to go to a strip club. But and like all my feels
Oh,
about
dude.
that,
Yeah.
I want to go, but I don't want him to go.
Okay, that's a whole different issue that you have to deal with
Yeah,
yourself.
but I don't know. I just it's yeah, that's a thing that I have to deal with. But it's just like why do we have like these like weird things in what we say are okay and what aren't okay that don't
With
make a
anything.
lot of sense. Let's be real, if we were in a dangerous situation, Monica and Maria are the people that I want to be around. So,
With the amount of
handled.
podcasts and stuff that I read and listen to now. Though we were talking about the book
Oh.
In Cold Blood last night.
Mm.
Briefly, very briefly. That was not high school appropriate.
I want to know if
To
people
be
like
quite honest with you.
still um like if
That
they
shit
still
scared the
have to
shit out of
read
me.
if they still have to read it. I like can't figure out what I want to
I
do with my
don't think
camera
so
today.
because my sister hasn't read it.
Well,
Two
that's good.
both of them.
They probably deemed it. I'm honestly surprised that there wasn't like an uproar while we were reading it in school about it
Also, I
being an
watched the
issue.
movie. Have you watched the movie?
No, I feel like I've seen parts of it, but I didn't
It's
watch
a
the whole
very
thing.
good movie, but also why did I watch it when I was in high school? Like I watched it by myself because I we read the book in sophomore year, I think maybe. No, maybe I don't know what year.
We read that going into freshman year.
Okay, great. So even younger. So 13-year
Hands
old
down.
minds. Yeah.
We'll not
So
forget that.
we read that book in cold blood. Was it because the movie was coming out? Because that movie was new, I think.
Was it?
I will Google. You vamp.
I feel like they probably would not align those two things because then they would be like, oh, they're just gonna go watch the movie instead of reading the book.
So the hold on, I'm sorry. It's not called In Cold Blood, but what the hell is it called?
The movie.
Yeah, it was with what's his face? The one that died. I can't remember his
See,
name.
you get mad at me for what I did last night, and you're
Capote.
doing it worse
Okay.
right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm really bad at this. No, so the movie it's about the guy that wrote In Cold Blood.
Huh.
And the movie during the time that he was writing In Cold Blood. So basically that. It
Oh.
was released in 2005.
Oh. Well, okay, I guess that's kind of right then.
Kind of, right? That's fucked up.
If you want to do math, guys, and figure out how old we are.
Yeah.
I mean, not that we haven't told you, but
Mhm.
oi.
That's
Okay, that makes sense, I guess.
Well, that's fucked up if the school board was like, all right, let's make them read this. Like, because the movie's coming out.
I don't
or it
know
came
how
out.
that became a possibility because it's like, why would you
'Cause,
think
like,
that's
that
okay
was
for
the-
us? It's a traumatic thing.
And like, also, I don't think it went with any other curriculum, like, during the year. Like, we
No.
weren't
And I don't
reading
even remember
horror
what
or,
type
like,
of
book it was.
what form of
It's
literature.
nonfiction. It's nonfiction,
Oh.
like,
Was there
nonfiction
something
true crime.
specifically in it, the way that it was written, that they wanted us to understand? I don't.
No, and then we read Kite Runner senior year, senior year. Me and
See, I
Monica, at
didn't have
least.
to read that.
That shit was
And I think that's
also
because I was in
so
AP English.
sad.
That's probably why.
Yeah, me and Monica were in honors.
English was that was my place. So, speaking of books, I wanted to talk about this is
Yes.
gonna have no connection to anything that we talked about
But it's just a
prior to
book,
this moment.
so yeah.
But I started reading this really cool book about mindset. Guys, I'm obsessed with
Can I read the text that you
sure.
sent me?
I'm obsessed with these kinds of books. I'm like all for this.
Wednesday at like noon. I'm writing a new book about mindset.
You know what?
It's not reading.
Those are
writing.
words of the
It's
future
writing.
because I will one day write a book about it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, she means she's reading it. Okay, I didn't even answer her.
She doesn't answer me. She never
No, because I knew it was for the podcast. I was like, okay, let's talk about it on the podcast.
It like takes you through like these 14 days of like different perspectives and things to think about to help like be able to better oversee your mindset, which is something that I'm struggling with all the time. And one of the chapters in the beginning is talking about like relaxation. And it was very interesting for me. So I'm gonna walk you through what I had as an experience. What is relaxation to you?
Me?
Yeah, like how would you describe it? What does it look like?
I'll doing nothing for me, honestly. Literally just like vegging on the couch.
Right. And like watching TV.
Yeah, mindlessly just mindlessly scrolling or something. Just mindlessly do something while literally on the couch. Visually is what I see.
I thought this was so interesting because when we think about the way that we like deem relaxation is like physically relaxing the body.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's not.
Even if you're mindlessly watching TV or like for me, I think about like being outside and just like hanging out outside and like reading a book or whatever, which is what I was doing while I was reading this. It talks about how like we forget about relaxing the mind and we don't ever actively relax. Like your mind is constantly going. Like it's just like you're breathing. Like it's always doing work whether you're aware of it or not. And it was the book was talking about how a lot of the times people don't know. This is perfectly relevant to me waking up probably at 3 a.m. because my brain was probably not relaxed.
Probably.
But it's talking about like being able to actually like stop those constant like firings that are going on in your brain for everything else and all the wavering thoughts that you have and actually being able to relax that along with your body, which kind of like taps into meditation a little bit. But
I was gonna say that,
I thought it was very interesting because I didn't highlight stuff and I definitely should have, so I have to go through this. But it's the only way that you can interrupt your mental process.
Is relaxing?
Is like this idea of relaxing. So okay, so I'm gonna. Sorry,
go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
So okay, here's part of what it says. So relaxing is interpreted several ways by different individuals. For some, running a triathlon is relaxing. For others, relaxation means kicking back in their recliner and reading a book. For our intents and purposes, relaxation is much more deliberate of an undertaking. It's not just one half of the rest and relaxation. It's so critical that when we're relaxation, it's 100% physical and 100% mental at the same time. So I was like, this is
Mm-hmm.
really cool. So it breaks it down into being able to say like literally how you can physically practice relaxing to intentionally interrupt your mental process.
Is that tied closely to meditation?
I mean, it's like it's like a form of meditation because it talks about like these three different things. It says like air, as in like intentional breathing, which is literally what relaxation meditation focuses on too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then using fit like imagery to put yourself in another place so that you're like seeing something else that brings
Oh,
you
I did that
peace.
in therapy once.
Yeah, like guided practice. That's meditation too. Um,
Yeah.
and then it talks about like taking time to recharge, which I haven't like dived into this chapter too much, but
Yeah.
it's like having a state of mind that's like not like there's nothing,
Blank.
yeah, there's nothing
Clear.
firing in there. um I thought it was really interesting because I was reading through it and I was like, we relax wrong.
Yeah, because when we're physically relaxed, I'm sure everyone's brains are still going
Yeah,
about something that they're worried about or something that's bothersome.
and it's funny because all of the things that push us to like self-care and all of those things, when we're people like me who struggle with mental stuff, as much as you're pushing yourself to relax, if you're not actually taking a moment to intervene and try to hit pause in what's going on with your mental state, you're just distracting yourself. You're not actually relaxing.
Right, like people are like, you should go get a massage so you can relax. While
Right.
whilst getting a massage, you are thinking about 50 different things is not relaxing.
And you're 1,200 miles away from where your body is laying in the moment. Yeah,
Right.
I just thought it was really interesting. It definitely 100% I think ties into meditation.
Uh-huh.
But I thought it was cool that the book kind of calls you on saying like you're not doing what you think you're doing. And
Mhm.
it honestly says that if you do it like meditation for like just a few minutes a day, and it talks about how like the beginning of the book talked about how when you're constantly in fight or flight situations, like you lose your ability to problem solve, you use your ability to think like
Yeah.
creatively and all of that. um and it
Mhm.
talks about how people who are very successful had to start training themselves to find like 5 minutes to be able to do this, to kind of literally like hit the reset button on their mental
Their
state.
brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it I don't know, I'm gonna try it and I'll let you know how it goes, of like
Uh,
actively trying to do it, because I think that
yeah.
when I try to meditate,
Are you still thinking?
I've gotten better. I've gotten so like I this is why I loved having Dara on last week, because she
Yeah.
reminded me of all the stuff that I've gotten away from, which is probably why I'm so like
Just
unstable right
everywhere.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um but when I used to practice and I could really get into like sitting and meditating and focusing on not focusing, honestly, for a few minutes, it would feel like I was reawakened. But I started to get to the point now where it's more of a relaxation for my body and I have to like play. I really like water sounds, so I have to like play
Yeah.
water sounds, but it's not the same as doing this. And I've never thought of having a self practice for myself where I try to put all three of those things together intentionally, like where I try to focus on my breath while having a certain type of image. And like I think I'm going to transition it into like, instead of listening to water, I'm going to try to visually see water.
Okay.
You know what I'm
That I
saying?
mean, yeah, yeah. That gives your brain another exercise as opposed to
Yeah.
worrying.
And it's
Yeah.
funny, I was thinking about this too because it was talking about it in the air part. I can't, when you like try to actively, and I want you to try this right now, people who are listening to this, I want you to try to actively and intentionally take a deep breath and like hold for a second at the top and breathe out. It's like not possible to think about other things if you're actually doing that with awareness.
Really. You're saying if I breathe in and then exhale. Wait, say that again. That
Oh,
you
so
can't
okay,
actively think of something.
so like I it really disrupts because your body
Yeah.
breathing is one of the only things that your body does it it's on its own that you could also control,
Right.
right? Like
Right.
aside from maybe blinking, but I don't really know if that counts. Um So when you have to actively think about your breath and really take like a big breath in, because when do we ever friggin' do that? And
Mm-hmm.
actually have to take a really big breath in, you're disrupting that breathing process, but your whole body has to, like, your brain is like, oh my God, we're changing
Oh,
this
I see.
function of the body. So like, and I was playing with it the other day. I was like trying to take a couple of big breaths in. And when I do it, like if I actually fully take a big breath in and I hold for a second and then I breathe out, I like my whole brain goes
That makes,
like
yeah,
void.
blank.
Yeah, done.
That makes sense. Because your body literally, that's like keeping you alive.
Right.
So your body's just like, okay, we have to focus on this. Everyone pause
Yeah.
for a
Which is like,
second.
I feel
Yeah.
like it's a bigger reason as to why we talk so much about why we need to focus on taking deeper breaths more, and like the whole reason why breathe more came out, like all those stupid, like you were saying, all those stupid fads that come out that we don't understand the reasoning behind, and then we just
Yeah.
do it and we hope that it works out. When I was practicing and going through all of this, I was like, it really is like a reset, because your brain can't do anything else in
Do
that
anything
moment.
else.
You're like overwhelming it with the importance of having to make sure that you actually breathe out again and you don't die.
Makes sense.
So
And
this is me
also,
encouraging everybody to go take some
to
deep
go breathe.
breaths.
Also, can you relay what you told me and Monica last night about comas? Because I don't think that's a
Oh,
that's a
concussions.
or comas. Yeah, concussions.
I
Sorry.
saw. I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Because that just
there's
reminded me of resetting your brain.
well, because we were
Honestly,
talking about how Monica, our friend Monica, had a major traumatic experience and ended up with a concussion. Um, and
she's fine, guys.
oh
This was
yeah,
a couple.
sorry. Oh
This
my
is.
God, yeah,
Oh
sorry. I
my god.
shouldn't say that.
No, this was a couple years ago now. This was
She's
pre-COVID. She's okay, guys.
perfectly fine.
Jesus,
Um,
Brittany.
but we were talking about concussions, and there's like a misconception about that you shouldn't let people sleep if they have a concussion. It's one of those stupid old wives' tales that we talk about that we think is important, but actually, when you think about it, makes literally no sense, because the only time that your brain can recuperate is when you're asleep. Um, so, you just want me to tell the fact that like if someone has concussion and they want to go to sleep, let them go to sleep. Is that what you're
You
talking
should
about?
probably sleep. Yes, because I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people are still not sleeping. Or in my personal opinion, I feel
And
like, you
the
know?
reality of the situation is, and guys, I say this because I was a part of a concussion research project. Um, but a lot of what we saw, especially in the subjects that we were working on that happened to be in the dance world, um, a lot of what we saw is that they are actually using things that make them not want to go to sleep. So their lack of sleeping isn't because their body doesn't need it. It's because they're like shutting down the melatonin levels because they're on their phones, which is something you shouldn't do when you have a concussion, or they're engaging in
You're
they're
supposed
like
to
in
like
loud environments, or they're in the
you're supposed to
light.
be
Like
like in a dark room,
you
right?
really should be like, depending on the degree of your concussion. So like, I don't know how we are talking about this right now, but a
I don't know,
concussion is
sorry.
when you want to know what I think of all the time when I think of this. I think of SpongeBob and like the episode where they're inside his little brain and his little brain's sitting on the thing, and it's, you know what I'm talking about, where Plankton goes inside his
Well,
brain.
I also have is it also the same episode where like no, I don't think it's the same episode. The one I'm thinking about is when he everything's on fire, like
Oh
in
no,
his
that's a good
brain.
one. He's like, burn it all. No, no,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking of the one where Plankton goes in to control SpongeBob and he sticks the things in his
Yes,
brain.
now yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yep, yep, yep.
so your brain sits in like, let the guy at the like at the top of your spinal column. It like just kind of sits there inside all of this goo.
It's so
Um,
gross thinking about like how gooey your brain is.
and actually, I was just listening to something the other day where they were talking about this, guys. I'm sorry, I'm really weird, but they're talking about open brain, like brain surgery,
Which I think is
and
wild.
the theories of the fact that like your brain can't, you know how like when you touch yourself, like
Mhm.
you feel, or like when you get touched you feel it, your
Yeah.
brain doesn't have like the receptors
This
of
yeah,
for
there's like no
feeling.
nerves or anything. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it doesn't feel when someone's touching it. So I thought that was
Yeah.
interesting. But anyway, your brain
Ugh.
sits up there, and there's that goo is the only thing that like is protecting your brain from your skull. So a concussion is whenever your brain hits your skull. Like, and that's why you can
Yeah.
get them all over areas of your brain. So it's literally the the response to that impact on your skull is swelling of the brain, which can cause other
Yeah.
issues. But like that's literally what a concussion is. It's swelling of your brain due to impact.
Yeah.
And I don't think that people realize how often people get concussed or how simple it is to get a concussion.
Yeah,
Like
it's super simple.
all it takes is like you
one
could
big
jolt your head back too fast or fall. Like, and it's fun when we started researching concussions. I learned of all the times that I had probably gotten a concussion and things that have happened to me. Um, and when they're not treated and your brain doesn't have the time to heal, it can cause damage to those areas of your brain. And I know people who've had multiple severe levels of concussions and they have like processing problems because their brain just never healed properly from all of the trauma. And that's the thing is that, and it's hard because we are only really starting to learn about, I mean, the NFL does lead a lot of this and tries to cover
yeah.
a lot of it up, but um, the research and all of this, for the longest time we were told these like wives tales and misguided information about like don't let somebody sleep, but the truth is the best way for your body to heal itself is when you're sleeping, and like your brain doesn't get to shut off unless you're sleeping, not that it's even off then. So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
this
that was
also
what we talked about.
bleeds into the mindset. Like, you should also let your brain rest while you're awake.
True, and finding times to do it because we are definitely overstimulating it all the time.
Have you, because, like, that's rare for me, but it happens. But
What?
then like, when my brain goes blank and I notice it after a while, and then obviously once I notice it, forget it. I can't go back.
Oh
you know?
yeah. Oh yeah. I only really get there when I get really tired. Like my brain
Oh,
will start to
yeah.
go blank, and I'm like, okay, I guess I should go to sleep now. Which I had a couple times when we were together last night. I was like, oop, nope,
Oh, I could, yeah. You were
it's gone.
tired.
Yeah, I was tired,
Also, it was, like, late for
I
you.
couldn't sleep, so I don't.
I don't
I think
know.
it's because my schedule has been weird this week because I've had like
Yeah.
not as much. I've had more free time to do stuff. Um, I don't know. It is what it is. Hopefully, I sleep tonight.
Well, let's hope so. You have a big day tomorrow.
I think a lot of it is this. I'm stressed about the wedding stuff, but like we've gotten a lot of stuff like concretely understood this week with all the
Oh,
meetings we've had.
Brittany told us about the whole food menu last night. Gonna gain 10 pounds.
Um, I think it's just like the excitement of it is starting to get to me too. So
That's good.
yeah,
That's good. I mean,
yeah,
the
I'm
place is
excited.
beautiful. I've been there for another
Yeah,
wedding, so it should be nice.
it's gonna
Especially on
be
Halloween. That's gonna be
great.
sick.
Gonna be great. I just have to survive the next 65 days to get there.
Oh, is it 65? 65 days and X amount of hours?
65 days. Yep. Man. Well, that was a lot of stuff. So things that are coming up, I feel like we're gonna have more guests. We have more people joining us. You guys are gonna get like a whole exclusive insight on my whole wedding shenanigans.
Yeah, we have to figure that
You're
out.
welcome. Yeah, we will. It's fine. You're welcome.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's really
Yeah,
it. We
hopefully
talked a
next week
lot
I'll be
about.
in my new place.
Yeah, and I'll come over there.
Yeah.
Oh
Mhm.
wait, no, not next week.
Whatever.
Because next week I am going away.
Oh yeah. Did we have this on the schedule?
I don't know. We'll look at it after we're done. But I think that's really it. I hope that you guys, if you guys like our mini episodes, we just dropped a whole bunch of stuff on you.
Yeah, and like last week was super long, so we're gonna keep this short.
Yeah. And if you have anything that you'd like us to talk about, any relevant information, um, because we just come on here and we just kind of go for it, which you guys know by
Yeah.
now. And we love
Yeah,
you
we
guys
just
for
wing it.
listening to us and hanging out with us. And we'd love to have you join us. Join us.
Okay.
This is what happens when we get together. We literally were together for what, like 4 or 5 hours yesterday, and just
Yeah,
unloaded
at
everything.
least like from like 6 to like 10. 4?
Yeah,
Just about.
yeah.
Yeah. And then we come on this podcast, we're like, we already talked about what we
We did everything. Sorry, guys. We'll make sure we
and then we're
don't hang
seeing each
out
other
outside.
tomorrow.
I
We're
know.
seeing we're seeing each other tomorrow, all the three of
Ugh,
us. So
greatest,
yeah.
greatest week. It's nice when I don't have stuff to do and I can actually be social.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Well, you gotta get your schedule fixed and then you can see us more often.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll make it a consistent thing.
Okay.
And
All
Monica
right.
will just come on the podcast more. It's fine.
Now it's gonna be like a third.
Guys, we're bringing on another person
Can you imagine? Okay.
who's usually with us anyway, but just in
Yeah.
spirit and not in physical presence. But we'll get her on more too. Well,
Mhm.
thank you guys for listening to us. I hope that you have an awesome week, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Okay, bye.